Greetings, friends. This is my message for the Trans Day of Visibility. And this is just a message for trans communities. I wouldn't say the same thing to cisgender people, but this is my sense of where we are stuck as a community. And so my wish for the Trans Day of Visibility, that we take charge and create a new energy in our community. And welcome, Carrie. Thanks for joining. So as I mentioned in my post, then my sense is, and welcome Charlie, and Alistair, and Spencer. The biggest danger to trans communities is not whatever cisgender people may do to us, but the persistent sense of victimization that runs rampant in trans communities, even promoted by those communities themselves in the name of liberation, and the sense of fragility that we have when we are not perceived by cisgender people in the ways that we perceive ourselves. And so if we think realistically about this, it is never going to happen because our understanding of gender is way more complicated than 90% of the humans on planet Earth can even conceptualize. And so the degree to which we are waiting on cisgender people to get it and unable to function in the world unless they do is the degree to which we disempower ourselves. So why do we give cisgender people that kind of power? Because cisgender people are not going to get you in the way that you understand yourself because they have a more limited worldview than you do. And that is a deficit, not a power. And so even if cisgender people are being openly hostile to you, that is the result of the fear inspired by their limited worldview. So they treat you badly because you are threatening to them. That means that they perceive you as having power, because otherwise you would not be seen as threatening. But when you see cisgender people as having power over you, then you throw that power away and reduce yourself to their worldview. And nobody is doing that to us. We are doing that to ourselves, because nobody can degrade your humanity and make you small unless you allow that. And if you have been allowing that, then you can change that. We absolutely cannot control another person's perception of us. It doesn't matter how many laws that we pass or how much education that we do. And so if we are waiting to feel happy and feel good about ourselves until that happens, then we are going to be waiting for the rest of our lives and missing out on a lot of good stuff in the meantime. We simply do not need cisgender people's approval and permission to be ourselves. We really don't. And if we allow ourselves to feel rocked every time that someone doesn't get us, then we are mostly going to feel rocked in life. And so on this Trans Day of Visibility, I really want to implore people to stop giving our power and our peace away. We control the only thing that really matters, which is our inner experience. And once we master that, then nothing else really does matter. And ironically, from what I've seen in my own experience, is that oftentimes when it stops mattering so much is oftentimes when it just happens and you just flow with life much more easily. So you do not need cisgender people to get you as much as you think that you do. You are not actually that fragile. And when we are living from the inside out, from the heart, and from our own sense of integrity and honor and self-knowledge, then it really doesn't matter in the slightest what other people think of you. You know yourself, you affirm and validate yourself, and that is all that matters. You do not have to be dependent upon the validation of other people, because what other people think about you is actually none of your business. It actually has nothing to do with you. It is not personal. And yet as a community, then we continually take it personally and feel hurt and victimized as a result. And then we rehearse those feelings of victimization with one another, telling each other how tough that our struggle is and how terrible it is that we were misgendered at the supermarket how we can't leave our house or have our bodies touched because we are broken and damaged. And so why are we buying into cisgender society's narratives about us? And why are we settling for less than our wholeness? And what if we turned our attention away from trying to be understood and accepted by mainstream culture? What new possibilities would that open up for us? Because mainstream culture is merely one version of reality, and it's a very limited one, and is only one world that we can live in. And we actually have the ability to create another world because it is actually a very shitty destination based on dominance and dehumanization. And ultimately, it is not our world. And we will always be second class citizens in that world, no matter how much some of us are able to assimilate. And so we simply cannot have our only measure of success be our success at fitting into mainstream culture, because I do believe that we are here to create something different. And yes, it really sucks to walk through life and to rarely have your own reality reflected back to you, not even in your own body. I certainly know how this feels. I am almost never correctly gendered, even in trans communities, and I know how enraging and heartbreaking and lonely and crazy making that it can feel, for sure. I wasted a lot of years feeling sorry for myself, that even after going on hormones, that people simply cannot see me for who I experience myself to be. And this is very frustrating and upsetting. I definitely understand that. And we are shapeshifters and alchemists who are able to transcend all of that. That is our trans superpower, to turn the shit into gold. And it is part of the journey of path forgers that you really have to rely on your own inner compass because there are no maps. You are the one who is making the map, laying down new versions of reality for those who come behind you, including what bodies can mean and what bodies can do. And it is actually an honor to have such an important job because anyone can follow a path that has been laid. But it really takes strength and courage to forge a path out of nothing, to show people the way when there does not even appear to be a way. And you wouldn't have been given that job if you didn't have the tools to accomplish it, though it will likely take all of your strength and courage and energy and determination to complete it. And so if you are feeling taxed, then it's an indication that you are on the right track because you will be pushed and stretched to test and expand your capabilities. That is how we grow. Just like all of those who came before you, who laid the path and made the map for the road that you are currently traveling. So you are not alone in this. But it is hard to get to the task at hand when we are busy telling one another how hard and unfair it is and trying to win a place in a dehumanizing, fucked up culture rather than doing what we are supposed to be doing, which is leading people out of it and beyond it. And so rehearsing our feelings of victimization and receiving sympathy from others over the ways that we feel victimized is disempowering, and it is never going to bring us the liberation that we seek. So that liberation only comes when we stand proudly in our own self-knowledge and self-value and declare our independence from a dysfunctional, cis, het, patriarchal, colonizing mainstream culture, and stop trying to win approval from people with a much more limited sense of reality than we possess. And we are meant to be teachers, and teachers just don't look to their students for affirmation. I know there's a lot of teachers in this group, and it's nice to be appreciated as a teacher. But as teachers know, any teacher who is looking to their students for approval, then they are doomed. Like the students can smell that. And so, the Four Agreements reminds us that when we are immune to the opinions of others, and not only their judgments, but also their praise, that is when we are truly invincible. Because cisgender people are simply not powerful and free. In many ways, they have been even more damaged by our dysfunctional mainstream culture. They just simply don't realize it yet. They do know, however, that they are not free on some level, because they know that whatever ease in life that they currently have, then it is dependent upon their conformity, and that they could lose that in a second if they question too much or dare to follow their own path. And so they are imprisoned, and you are the one who is freeing yourself. And so, though you may currently be a scapegoat and feel like a scapegoat, then history will show you to be a hero, as one of the few who dared to break from the herd, to suffer the consequences of going your own way, and through that sacrifice, helping to eliminate those consequences for everyone. And so, though you may not realize it now, others are following you, and history will show you to be an inspiring leader. And the degree to which you realize that now is the degree to which your everyday life will transform from fear and pain into exhilaration and empowerment. So, I know this may not be a popular message or a usual message for the Trans Day of Visibility, but I think that is kind of the nature of leadership, that true leaders don't necessarily speak what people want to hear, but speak some kind of truth that needs to be heard. So that's what I was feeling today. My wish for the Trans Day of Visibility. So we have a bunch of folks on. Michelin, welcome, and Nadia, and Renee, and Joy. Wow. And Bruce, Alex, and Ace. So if anybody has any questions or comments about what I just shared, or if you have your own Trans Day of Visibility message, I would love to hear it. What are the things that you are doing personally to celebrate, either on your own or in community, or ways that you feel inspired based on today to become more visible in your community, to become more of a leader in your own life. Let's see. Spencer says, thank you, Sam. So I'm glad at least the message was resonating with someone. All right, well, I am off to Denver for the Phoenix performance for the Trans Day of Visibility. So I hope you all are having a wonderful weekend and making meaning of this day and this week and this weekend in whatever way feels important to you. And so as you feel moved to share that, to share your vision, to share your wisdom, to share your hope for the future of trans communities, or for yourself, and I welcome you to share that and look forward to hearing what you have to say. So thanks very much for being with me. I hope that you've gotten something from what I shared, and I look forward to connecting again soon.